Hey, welcome back, everybody. The reveals of set 13 showed off the first not Brankgate Mythish, which was the Drajeweled card. Uh, so I figured it's time to put out the Drajeweled profile, also because of the fact that I finally got everything from the nice mailman. So we'll get into this profile. We have the product stream. I don't know if it's tonight or if it's like tomorrow with like the Japan timing and all that. But hopefully there will be a video uh, probably like later in the day, maybe halfway through the day, where I'll just talk about everything that I saw and that I liked in the stream. It's the big 15th, so I'm hoping we get a lot of cool stuff, especially like there's definitely got to be a stride deck in there. At least that's my hope. But we'll go ahead and get into this. So we're on. Oop, I left the energy generator there. Let's get you right out. There we go. We got the new Julius Draco kid. Uh, I love the art on all these guys, by the way. These are some of my favorite like arts for Dark State units. We got the new Jewel Core, which insane buff, by the way. When you ride over with the new Jewel Needle to look at top five, put two cards into Soul and shuffle, like it's just so good. He hasn't changed much, just for his Soul Charge and Draw, and then Magnus. This build isn't quite a pure Magnus build. I'm gonna lead with that and say the Magnus doesn't really have enough stuff to fully be on his own, and I don't think with set 13 he'll fully be on his own. But we'll be able to declump uh, when set 13 hits. We'll be able to declump on the grade 4 if we really want to. But the biggest buff to this guy is the fact that he gives his front row power. He actually sets the opponent's Vanguard to 0 instead of 1, which was the original Jeweled. And the fact that he can give Jewel Dragons Jewel Dragons a drive check is really cool. So that's it for the ride line. Nothing super crazy there. Moving on to the like huge grade 3 portion. So again, this isn't a pure build, but I am playing 2 copies of the Persona ride, and I'm playing 4 copies of Drajeweled Ignis, and then obviously the 1/4 Badal as our Regalis piece. So just to give a quick explanation on this, Ignis is still kind of the game winner, but realistically, if you can Persona ride into Drajeweled, you still have a really nice and scary turn. Uh, you'll be able to get, especially if you have the grade 3 that came out with them, which is GL draw. If you have this on the field, you're doing 4 drive checks in one turn. Uh, but yeah, they haven't quite. You only need 2 copies of the Persona ride. The uh, the realistic thing is going into Ignis is technically much better, but I'm hoping when set 13 comes out, I can kind of, I can cut this back and like maybe only play like a couple copies of this and just focus on the Persona Ride build because I really do like the new Magnus. So that'll be it for our Jeweled specifically. We'll go on to our Jewel Dragons. I'm playing 4 copies of Geoldra, so he calls things out of Soul, and he does Twin Drive when you pick him with Magnus's ability, which is really cool. Uh, the reason we're on 4, well, one is because he also guards for 5k shield if you're on a Drajeweled Vanguard, which is really cool. But also it's a grade 3. I kind of want to have like a sort of higher grade 3 count because there's like a couple games where you just like if you miss one grade, it just feels so bad. So I'd rather like run extra just to make sure I'm not missing on that. And lastly, we have 2 Lavender Jader. Lavender Jader is a restander, but it's also a jewel dragon. So in a worst case scenario, you can if you're either at 4 damage or your Persona ride to do the drive checks, he can restand and he'll get the 1 drive check, which isn't super bad. But I'd like to bump it up to 3 if I could, because I like that you can discard him and he'll go into soul. But the space is it's a little tight right now, so we'll have to hopefully when we get more support we can try to fit another one of those in. That's it for our grade threes. Grade two count, I have some interesting ratios. I mean, well, this one isn't very interesting. It's 4 copies of Lithosagur. I mean, he draws you a card on play for Energy Blast 3. He restands with 10k power. Like, he's a pretty good card. So I don't think there's a world where we cut that down anymore. I'm playing 3 copies of Zagan. So the thing about Zagan is he's also a board builder. You know, he's kind of like Geoldra that can call something out of the soul, but you have to reveal specifically a grade 4 Drajeweled, and but otherwise he is a 10k booster, which is nice. It's just I don't think you need that many what's the word, board builders. You know, I think you only need like a small amount. I'm playing 2 copies of Tizkar. Tizkar kind of comes up every once in a while. You might have some spare energy to burn, but it's also really nice because it can help you dig an extra card because you're still kind of a fragile deck. You really need to hit turn 4. So 2 copies of that is fine. And I was debating about playing 3, but I'm playing 1 copy of the Ace unit just in case, like to get, you know, some extra. If I don't hit the any Drajeweleds in the soul, or if I don't hit any like higher grades in the soul, I think it's really nice to have this on the backboard just in case. But yeah, that is it for the grade 2 lineup. If there's anything you would like to change, I'd personally say like you could probably swap this for another copy of Tizkar, but I think it's fine for the current set 11 meta. And then moving on to the grade 1s. So another weird set of ratios. I'm only playing 3 copies of Bifrons. Bifrons is really like a really good card for the deck, just to like find cards to add to hand, find cards to add to soul. The only issue with Tizkar specifically, or not Tizkar, with Bifron specifically is once you've done one, you really don't need to do more. So I feel like 3 is like a decent enough ratio where it's like you're going to see the card. Uh, but if you wanted to cut it or add it to 4 copies, you could always cut the Ace unit. You could always cut a Tizkar. You could probably cut a Zagan if you want. Like you got different like spots that you could grab from. We're still on 4 copies of Varpla. Varpla is obviously going to disappear the moment the new Mythish unit comes out. But if you reveal if when you do your big Soul Blast for your Drajeweled Vanguard, you reveal a Ignis in hand, and you get to put this to soul and restand something if you haven't restood anything that turn. And you draw a card, which is really nice. So there's no reason not to play him in the current iteration. And lastly, for perfect guards, obviously we're playing. Oop, I need you guys to get a little. There we go. We're playing the Blitz perfect guard, the one that counts if your opponent has the extra, the not energy generator. Just because we are on a grade 4 build and we do want to get around guard restrict sometimes. So that is it for the not triggers, I should say. Well, it for the grade 1s. Moving on to the triggers. So this is the interesting part. I'm playing purple OT. So I like purple OT a lot because there's a lot of times where I want to be at like lower damage, especially like because this is just an aggressive meta, right? So if you're going first, you can heal down early on. You can get anything that you hit to your damage that's like important back to your hand. For now, it seems like the play to say the least. And then we're on 8 critical triggers. I didn't have any more of the like effect go to soul ones. I have the one I got from the Michiru deck, but I didn't have any more. It's not a big deal if you don't have them, because I never really call critical triggers down. We're still on 3 draws. Draws are really good for the deck. I don't know if we're ever going to get to a point where we can run fronts in this deck, but draws are still it. And obviously, you got to play heal triggers. Heal triggers are super important. So that is it for the profile. Uh, a lot of weird ratios all around, but I think it works out pretty good, at least in my opinion. I think there's a lot of changes that could be made, but I'm not finding any that I like am desperate to make. So for a set 11, I think this is like a perfectly fine build if you were looking to copy one. But that is it for this profile. And yeah, I'm gonna see you guys tonight, tomorrow. I have no idea when the stream is going on, but you'll see me again really soon, and we're gonna get through more of set 11. So have a great day, guys. Peace.